Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Gire Varadhari Jayo Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Jayo Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Paribra Jagacharya Totarasata Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jaya Om Vishnupat Paramahansa Paribra Jagacharya Totarasata Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardham ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Dham ki Shri Jagannath Puri Purukshottam Aksheta Dham ki Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Bhakti Devi ki Shrimati Tulsi Devi Maharani ki Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Granta Rash Srimad Bhagavatam ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 673, yeah? 76. I was told to 73. Yeah, because the last verse, Nityananda Prabhu read was 72. Yeah, he read 71 and 72. Okay, so maybe we can go. I will read. We can read now all together 76, and then I will go back and read from 72, 73, and then. Savayam Brahma Mahat Vimigya Kaivalya Nirvana Sukhanubhuti Priya Sukhritva Kalumatuleya Atmarhaniyo Vidikrit Guruscha Savayam Brahma Mahat Vimigya Kaivalya Nirvana Sukhanubhuti Priya Suhritva Kalumatuleya Atmarhaniyo Bhitikrit Guruscha Sava Ayam Brahma Mahat Vimrigya Kaivalya Nirvana Sukhanubhuti Priya Suhritva Kalumatuleya Atmarhaniyo Bhitikrit Guruscha. Sa, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Va, either I am, Krishna, Brahma, the Supreme Brahman, Mahat Vimikriya, sought by great saintly persons, devotees of Krishna. Kaivalya Nirvana, Sukha, of liberation and transcendental bliss. Anubhuti, for the realization. Priyaha, very dear. Suhrit, the well-wisher. Vah, of all of you Pandavas. Khalu, famous as Matuleyaha, the son of your maternal uncle. Atma, heart and soul. Arhanyaha, the most worshipable person. Vidikrit, giving direction. Guruhu, your spiritual master. Cha, and. So translation. And purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. How wonderful it is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Parabrahman, Krishna, who is sought by great sages for the sake of liberation and transcendental bliss, is acting as your best well-wisher, your friend, your cousin, your heart and soul, your worshipable director, and your spiritual master. Purport. Krishna can become the director and spiritual master of anyone who is serious about getting the mercy of Krishna. The Lord sent the spiritual master to train a devotee, and when the devotee is advanced, the Lord acts as the spiritual master within his heart. Tesham satata yuktanam vajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogantam yenaman upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Krishna does not become the direct spiritual master unless one is fully trained by his representative spiritual master. Therefore, as we have already discussed, the Lord's representative spiritual master should not be considered an ordinary human being. The representative spiritual master never gives any false knowledge to his disciple, but only perfect knowledge. Thus, he is the representative of Krishna. Krishna helps as the guru or spiritual master from within and from without. From without, he helps the devotee as his representative, and from within, he talks personally with the pure devotee and gives him instructions by which he may return home back to Godhead. So now I read text 73. Tavadasyanaham jagye tatra vibhramavadinam susrushaya praptoham brahma putratam. Although I took birth as a Shudra from the womb of a maidservant, I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in this life, I got the opportunity to take birth as the son of Lord Brahma. Translation. My dear Maharaj, next 73. Here, purport 73. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, Manhi parta vyapashritya yepisyup papayo nayah strio vaishas tata shudras tepi yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. It doesn't matter whether a person is born as a Shudra, a woman, or a Vaishya. If he associates with devotees repeatedly or always, sadhu sangena, he can be elevated to the highest perfection. Narada Muni is explaining this in relation to his own life. The Sankirtan movement is important, for regardless of whether one is a Shudra, Vaishya, Mlecha, Yavana, or whatever, if one associates with a pure devotee, follows his instructions, and serves the pure devotee, his life is successful. This is bhakti. Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. Bhakti consists of serving Krishna and his devotees very favorably. Anyavilashita sunyam. If one has no desire other than to serve Krishna and his devotee, then his life is successful. This is explained by Narada Muni through this practical example from his own life. Then I think I should read 74, 75, so we complete the section for the next speaker tomorrow. Dharmaste griha medio varnita papanashana grihastu yena padavim anjasa nyasinam yat. The process of chanting the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that by this chanting, even householders, grihastas, can very easily gain the ultimate result achieved by persons in the renounced order. Maharaj Yudhishthir, I have now explained to you that process of religion. Purport. This is a confirmation of the Krishna consciousness movement. Anyone who takes part in this movement, regardless of what he is, can gain the topmost result achieved by a perfect sannyasi, namely Brahma Jnana, spiritual knowledge. Even more important, he can advance in devotional service. Maharaj Yudhishthir thought that because he was a grihasta, there was no hope of his being liberated. And therefore he asked Narada Muni how he could get out of material entanglement. But Narada Muni, citing a practical example from his own life, established that by associating with devotees and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, any man in any condition of life can achieve the highest perfection without a doubt. 75, translation. My dear Maharaj Yudhishthir, you Pandavas are so very fortunate in this world that many, many great saints who can purify all the planets of the universe come to your house just like ordinary visitors. Furthermore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is living confidentially with you in your house just like your brother. Purport. Here is a statement exalting a Vaishnava. In human society, a Brahmana is the most respected person. A Brahmana is one who can understand Brahman, the impersonal Brahman, but hardly ever can one understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is described by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita as Param Brahma. A Brahmana may be extremely fortunate in having achieved Brahma Jnana, but the Pandavas were so exalted that the Parabrahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was living in their house like an ordinary human being. The word Buri Bhaga indicates that the Pandavas were in a still higher position than Brahmacharis and Brahmanas. In the following verses, Narada Muni repeatedly glorifies the position of the Pandavas. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulam Gayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I will try to speak of all this section, although honestly I didn't know. But it's such a wonderful verses, not glorifying association of devotees and glorifying the holy name and glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj. So all of them are connected. So first we have Narada Muni, who has been telling to Yudhishthira Maharaj his past life, how he became a pure devotee, basically. So in previous lecture we were hearing about the mistake that Narada Muni in his previous life committed while performing kirtan. And as a result, he was cursed to become a son of a Shudra. But what happened that when this story is told by Narada Muni to Srila Vyasadeva in the first canto. And what happened is that he, as a Shudra, actually he was very humble. So it was a blessing because he got the association of Bhakti Vedantas, so pure devotees, that happened to come to his house when he was a child. He was the son of a mono marriage, a single mother. And the way he behaved with the saintly person was very exemplary. So he followed actually everything that he didn't do in his previous life. He was very humble with the sage, even being a child, by the association of this great saintly person, he didn't become attracted to play in the same way like Prahlad Maharaj when he was a child. He wasn't inclined to perform activities of a normal child, but he was already in a higher stage of devotional service. Narada Muni went through the process of that is described in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, the process of hearing and chanting and association of devotees. So for instance, he served the Bhakti Vedantas, and there are very powerful results by serving devotees. He also got blessings from them. He took something very powerful, which is the remnants from pure devotees. As a result, his heart was purified. And then he developed taste. But like when we go through the process of devotional service, if we are sadhakas, we will go through different stages. So in the first stages and in the last stages, we always keep the association of devotees, because that is the main, we can say, the motor that is making everything to work. So there is not a moment in which association of devotees is not needed. So Narada Muni went to the process. His heart was purified, so he went to the stage of Nishta and then Ruchi, which is, he developed a transcendental taste for hearing about Krishna. Therefore, he listened to the Bhaktivedanta with great attention, and his taste began to increase, and as a result, then the mood of nature ceased to affect him. So that's another result of practicing devotional service in higher stages. It describes just by paying attention to the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to that stage. When tamas, rajas, and even sattva don't influence anymore, and one is in the Brahma Bhuta, Nasochatina Kanshati, there is no more lamentation for the past, no more hankering for the future, which are, if we chant rounds morning, many times we can, at least I cut myself thinking in the past or hankering for something in the future. If you are in the present, if you are chanting the holy name, if you are listening what you are chanting, otherwise you are rather in the past, either lamenting something and then projecting the future, a better future. This is the conditioned life. So Narada Muni then, by coming to this stage, all his previous sinful, of course, we are talking about as an example, because Narada Muni is a Nitya Siddha, but just for the sake of lesson, the Srimad Bhagavatam is explained that all his sins were eradicated, all the papam. So Bhagavad Gita explained that when all the sins from previous life are eradicated by the power of devotional service, when we can come to the stage of being fixed in devotional service. That's why Srila Prabhupada, he gave us the opportunity to practice the 4 principles of freedom, which is very basic. It's like not eating meat, fish, and eggs, being free from illicit sexual life, and no gambling, no intoxication, and that prevents us from commit gross sinful activities. So that empowers help us to that our chanting and our devotional activity become more effective. Otherwise, it's like throwing ghee on the fire to extinguish. Very difficult. So Narada Muni, at the end, he could understand the nature of the energy of Krishna, and that helped him in the future, because later on, the Bhaktivedanta left, so his training, we can say, was finished, and so he was by himself with his mother, and his mother happened to die in an accident with a serpent. So he was alone, and he was still a child. And most of the child will have some very difficult time being without their mother. So it's psychologically, it's very strong, the effect that can have in the future for a child. But in the case of Narada Muni, because he was under the direction of, he was already connected with Krishna, and he understood the science of Krishna consciousness, he could see this situation as a mercy of the Lord. Imagine if a child says that to a psychologist. They immediately will think that this child is totally sick. Or that he doesn't have any feelings. Has some, there are some people who cannot feel. But Narada Muni was a self-realized child, practically, although he still needed some more time for perfection. So he took the situation as a opportunity to become more fixed in his devotional service. So he left. He practically took a life as a sannyasi. He went to different places, and finally he got the darshan of Krishna within. But then when he opened his eye, he got disturbed because he wanted to meditate again and he couldn't see the Lord within his heart. And finally, the Lord spoke and told him that he still needed some perfection. So he gave him this darshan within, so he had more hankering to achieve the Lord in this life. So that's later on. Narada Muni was born from Brahma as Narada Muni, because at that time he was still not known as Narada Muni. So Narada Muni has experience on the association of devotees, and he has been telling Yudhishthira Maharaj the story of Prahlad Maharaj, and now he's telling the power of association with devotees. And Yudhishthira Maharaj may feel like, okay, after hearing such a wonderful devotees, and such like Prahlad Maharaj, who got the opportunity to have the association of Narada Muni when he was in the womb of his mother, and then the life of Narada Muni, such a wonderful story. But now Narada Muni is letting know Yudhishthira Maharaj that you are also very fortunate. Actually, because Maharaj Yudhishthira was very humble, he was may have been feeling down. And he said, actually, you have the Supreme Personality of Godhead living with you. This is such an amazing thing. So he's telling Yudhishthira Maharaj in the last verse that we read, how wonderful is it that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Parabrahman Krishna, who is sought by great sages for the sake of liberation and transcendental bliss, is acting as your best well-wisher, your friend, your cousin, your heart and soul, your worshipable director, and your spiritual master. So Srimad Bhagavatam is giving this amazing story for devotees who are in such wonderful positions of being personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even them, they are thinking, I am not so fortunate. Prahlad Maharaj is more fortunate than myself. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita is explained, it is highlighted how the devotees always feel humble. Even if they are getting all the mercy, they feel that other devotees are getting more mercy. But that's not because they are envious, but it's because they always, in the spiritual mentality, that always one think that the other devotee is more advanced, have more fortune. It's the opposite, that we are here doing a reformation mentality. But when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we may think like how far we are from these great devotees. And so what is our fortune? So we have a good excuse to say that we are not fortunate. However, the Srimad Bhagavatam and these stories, if we look at them carefully, they are giving us a lot of enthusiasm and hope that we can also achieve Krishna. For instance, in the story of Narada Muni, Prabhupada is telling us that it doesn't matter, like the fact that Narada Muni was born as a Shudra is very encouraging for us, because many of us were born even lower than a Shudra, according to scriptures. And without chances to, in probability, we didn't have any chance to practice devotional service by being born in the West. But somehow or other, so we got this fortune, and we get in touch through the association of devotees to the Prabhupada books. And now we have this opportunity of practicing devotional service, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and learn from these lessons. So, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, association of devotees is essential for practice devotional service. So we can see in our, so who didn't get association of devotees before coming to Krishna consciousness? I mean, who came by himself to Krishna consciousness without any association? One day you were in the street and you feel, oh, Krishna is calling me, and you went to a temple, or did you receive a book, something? Mataji? Yes, very special.
Or because even though I didn't get any association or I was not in touch to the movement through book distribution or anything, but still I feel that somewhere in my past life, there must have been a mercy of a devotee that prompted me in this lifetime to so strongly prompt me to go to a temple without any past, experience.
Yes, according to Nectar of Devotion, in a previous life there should have been, and also just by being in India, because Prabhupada explained that one is very fortunate by being born there. Also, there are many holy, every day in India they were chanting of the holy name, and there is the temple, no? Such an amazing opportunity. Rakta Prabhu?
My first contact was like I was listening to the radio.
Listen to the radio.
Yeah, it was in the 60s. And I heard this lady, she was chanting the Maha Mantra. And I was real young at that time. And that was my first. And then I became like sort of intrigued about, the mantra itself. But I didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness, like years later. Then I started like checking it out more seriously.
This is an example of association through hearing, from a devotee. So, does anyone got a book before coming here? Mitch, you got a book from Jordan. In Jordan, did you get a book before? From Acharanista, see? Disciple succession. An Acharanista got a book in Peru, I think, in South America. So, yes. Yeah, many of us came through book distribution, and others came by listening Krishna, and others from previous life. Nobody can escape to the power of the association of devotees. And it's interesting that we're not talking about, we're talking about devotees in general, not only just pure devotees. As we grow or we don't grow in Krishna consciousness, so as the past goes on, we start becoming a little bit picky. Because at the beginning we didn't realize that a devotee gave us a book, and then we came to the temple, and they help us so much But as the time passed, we start becoming picky and we say, only pure devotee can help me. Now I don't know how I came to Krishna consciousness, but has been my own devotional service in previous life, because if it was for the association of this devotee, I don't think so, that he had the power to make devotees. So most probably I have to conclude that I had that devotion within myself. And that's it's very unfortunate, but it happens. It happened to me, and I being helped to correct that, because it's very unfortunate that we started we come to Krishna consciousness with able to receive a lot of blessings, and therefore we advance, and there we lose the most important thing, that is that impetus to being willing to learn from everyone, and we start becoming very, very picky, and at the point of disregarding devotees, and then to the point of making set circles, no, like and groups, no, like these are only the devotees, no? And these devotees, no, they cannot do anything like that. But Srila Prabhupada was very encouraging. He addressed his own disciple as pure devotees sometimes, and so of course there are devotees who are pure devotees, and they have a special power. But if we are not kind enough to recognize even all the devotees, most probably we won't get advantage of those great devotees. Because Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was a very humble person. It wasn't that he was only kind to Krishna, but he was able to learn from everyone, and he was also very humble to the point of even feeling himself very low. I don't recall very well, but there is a story of Duryodhana and Yudhishthira Maharaj, in which I think, maybe you can help me, Mataji, if you remember. And they have a task, no? I think Duryodhana have to look for someone better than him, or someone who has no faults. So both of them. Someone with faults. So for Duryodhana, the task was to look for someone who didn't have any fault. And he had a very hard time. Because he was basically seeing faults in everyone. And we can see that Duryodhana also saw faults in Krishna. But to speak, he had a wonderful relative, who was Vidura. And Vidura was a pure devotee, recognized by Uddhava. He had a great conversation with another pure devotee like Uddhava. Krishna loved him so much. And Duryodhana couldn't even stand his association, that he kicked him out from the palace. And so he had a hard time finding good qualities. So he couldn't, he failed. And Yudhishthira Maharaj has to find someone with faults. So imagine Yudhishthira Maharaj, such a great devotee. So as the past time in our Krishna consciousness, we think that now, because I have knowledge, I can distinguish. Actually, I thought that this devotee was very pure, but now that I read Srimad Bhagavatam, I read the definition of pure devotional service, Anu Kulyena, Krishna Nu, Shinanam, Bhakti Ruttama, and this devotee full of, at least he's doing karma mishra bhakti, or bhakti mixed with karma, and these devotees are all like a jnanis, these devotees more like a karma kandi, but Yudhishthira Maharaj, being even having the association of pure devotee, he couldn't find any fault in anyone. And we are not talking about devotees, in anyone. So this is the quality of Yudhishthira Maharaj. And okay, see, I wanted to make a point. So we have these two opposite personalities. So it's a constant that the more you advance in spiritual life, the more you're able to find good qualities. And actually, there is a chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam in which Lord Shiva is glorified by his wife because he had a very wonderful skill that he was able to see a good quality in someone, even a person who had many faults, he will find a good quality and then magnify it. And on the other side, the father of Shiva's wife, he was very picky, and he faults in Lord Shiva. He's one of the greatest Vaishnavas. And this Daksha, there are no like demons, and no, there are devotees also. But they have this is the difference. The pure devotees, like Lord Shiva, and the example of Daksha, he still saw faults in devotees, like Lord Shiva. So there is a lesson that is achievable for us, and that when we see these great devotees, we don't need, we are not necessarily have to imitate the ecstasy mood of these great devotees. Like it is explained here that when the spiritual master train you and you become very advanced, then Krishna instructs you from within. So sometimes we try to take those instructions and say, oh, maybe I am now advanced and now Krishna is instructing me from within. But that's hard to imitate. They have to. However, what Yudhishthir Maharaj's example and Narada Muni's example, etc., of being able to appreciate everyone, that is achievable. That's something that we can practice and won't harm at all. At least we can repeat. And but there are, we may say, okay, but this Yudhishthira Maharaj didn't have to confront with the situation that I have to confront. Or with ISKCON in 2016. Or we can say, but because Prabhupada is not here, so we don't have Yudhishthira Maharaj had Narada Muni, a pure devotee. You know? But again, Srimad Bhagavatam shows us, Duryodhana had Vidura, had Krishna as associate, so he has no excuse to find faults and criticize, because he had the best association. However, it wasn't enough for him. So there is a lesson there. It's not like you don't really need to have directly this great association, because we may have it, but we are not able to recognize. That's the problem. So imagine Srimad Bhagavatam, instead of being narrated by Shukadeva Goswami, if Srimad Bhagavatam would be narrated by Duryodhana or by another person. For instance, Dhruva Maharaj, we will say Dhruva Maharaj became a little bit upset when his father didn't pay attention to him. So an ordinary person would take this event as, oh, he was a very whimsical child, and then he just wanted a kingdom. Somehow Krishna gave some mercy, but then he killed many yakshas because he was in anger. So we can have another perspective. We can also do like this with find faults in Parikshit Maharaj because he left Kali open. And so it's the quality of Shukadeva Goswami that he is showing the glory of the devotees that are there, but are there because there is someone who can see them. So in The same way, there should be many great devotees, and some can see them and some cannot. In the same way that when Krishna was here, some people accept him as God, and many others, like Shishupal, they insult Krishna. And again, the same with Srila Prabhupada. No? When he was here, only few human beings surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. It's not like it's just by Srila Prabhupada being here, these devotees who now are giving their life, they didn't make any effort. So it was like automatically. They saw Srila Prabhupada and they surrender. It's very easy, it's a pure devotee. No, they have a great merit because not everyone was able to surrender to Srila Prabhupada. If we read Prabhupada in Lamrita, he was very strict. Being in Prabhupada's movement at that time, you have to be very, very strong. And that is a merit also of the devotees who did that. Okay, we have 4 minutes. And so this, one of the lessons we can learn from Srimad Bhagavatam is that the change is not in the, although Srimad Bhagavatam showed these wonderful circumstances, is the merit of how we use this situation, because it's always showing two sides. On the one side, you have the devotees who are taking every opportunity as helping them to become even better devotees. On the other hand, you have examples in which the bad character is shown. So association is very powerful, but it's not that just by association. If you don't have if we are not willing to receive the mercy, we won't receive it. It's not because Krishna don't force anyone, and also so he cannot. Where is the freedom? If Krishna will send the pure devotee, and then you don't have any freedom to do anything, as you just become a devotee, and then you go back to God. But there is a freedom there. So even if we have the greatest association, we still have a role in there, in how we take that. The mercy will be there, but how we take it. That's why there is difference between Duryodhana and Yudhishthira Maharaj. So if there are any comments?
Hare Krishna, Gokulananda. Thank you for
Hare
your
Krishna.
class. Thank you very much. My question is related to, Narada Muni's lack of false prestige. The one thing I appreciate about all the devotees in the Bhagavatam is that they never tried to hide their faults. So Narada Muni said, previous life, I lusted after women. And a lot of times, in our particular case, we may not want to reveal all our faults because we don't want people to think less of us. And that reminds me of a question one devotee asked me recently. Basically, he asked, if devotees watch movies, essentially, will they go to hell, basically? And so when me and my brother came to Krishna consciousness, our concept is that if you don't offer a flower to Krishna, if you smell it without offering to Krishna, you're basically going to go to hell. That was our conception.
If you don't offer.
Yeah. So my question is that can you answer basically a two-part question? Sometimes we try to hide all our faults, and how detrimental can that be to one's Christian consciousness? Because then when somebody's speaking to you, they're like, okay, nobody's that, faultless. You're God then if you don't have any faults. And also, one aspect of the question is that how detrimental is it for us when let's say when somebody tells us their faults, then we're like you already answered this question, we lose respect for them. So on one hand, we don't like to tell people our faults because we don't want people to think less of us. And on the other hand, if others tell us their faults, we may potentially think less of them. Oh, you're not a pure devotee. But we can hear so many pastimes, like when Haridas Thakur saved the prostitute, it says she became a celebrated devotee, recognized by exalted Vaishnavas. Now, if a prostitute came and gave Bhagavatam and said, I was a former prostitute, we'll probably get up and walk out the class. So can you explain both aspects? How can you address those type of mentalities? On one hand, we like to hide our faults, which may not be good because it doesn't foster
Not
humility.
disclosing our faults,
Yeah.
one.
Well, it doesn't foster humility, basically. Not that you tell everyone all the sinful activities, but you're not acting like you're God or perfect.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, like you already answered this question essentially, is that we may go into Vaishnava Parad when we try to size up every devotee. But we could hear so many stories where these great devotees like Narada Muni, they never tried to hide their faults. So can you explain the pros and cons of both those mentalities? You pretty much addressed one aspect of them. So.
Okay.
Or what should we do, basically? What should our mentality should be in regards to this dilemma that arises all the time with devotees? So.
Okay, I'm sure if I understood correctly, but so regarding the faults, so we know that in Upadeshamrita is advice, and in many parts that we are encouraged to disclose our mind to devotees, senior devotees who can help us. But sometimes this disclosing can be also expose your own faults. No? And on the other hand, you don't want to, like you say, broadcast your unglories. No? So it can be done confidential. At the same time, in behavior, we have a tendency because the society itself requires that you kind of act so on different roles. You know, sometimes there are expectations on different roles. And when you go outside, you know, you dress in a certain way, you know, and you're a little bit different from how you are in your house because you are performing somehow. And depend the role. If come the police, for instance, you become more serious. You know, and if you go to meet the doctor, you dress in a certain way, etc. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are labeled, no, as the devotees, and we are also learning another culture, and in which we're supposed to behave in a certain way, and sometimes it's for many of us maybe very, very different from how you were behaving before. So you learn a new behavior, no, a new way to eat, no, because the devotee will chastise if you just touch the food. No, like, it's just natural for you, but in the culture, in the Vaishnava culture, it's very different. So from the very beginning, it's like we already hide a lot of things, like just to being accepted among the devotees sometimes, no, in our neophyte stage. So we say, even we don't understand the rules, but we take them just to fit, no, among the association of devotees. You know, we take off the shoes when we enter in the temple. We clean our hand. We take shower, you know, many times a day. And then in behavior also, we're supposed to be humble. We start greeting the devotees like this, and sometimes in the inside we still have like a big, big demon, but we still try to behave like this. So in some way we are acting. Some of us maybe acting, but not. But in that case, it can be healthy because it's like in society outside it's healthy to follow certain patterns. You don't want to go if you go to a school, for instance. Even if you have the impetus to do crazy things, you contain yourself because you know you're in a setting, you will be chastised. So there is a healthy social pressure among Vaishnava society that can be helpful, but till a certain point, now when it becomes a completely show or something that you're pretending all the time, very difficult to be a devotee for a long time because you cannot act for many years. You can act for a few years and get the approbation of after a while you get tired of acting, no? And then you start tired of doing like this. You start expressing your own personality, and so that is normal. But if you don't recognize that, so one point is good to expose yourself. Depends, for everyone is individual, but if you expose yourself among devotees, they will help you. I mean, or they will reject you, but in a good way. They will let you know that something is wrong with you. So you show your level, so they have a clear understanding where you are. And so they are not confused, like, oh, I thought he was like such a great devotee. No, you are showing them in a, I mean, with mindfulness. No, you do it well. So then they know, and then, okay, then now there will be an opportunity to help. And also you understand, and then you don't have to act, because they already know how are you. And so it also becomes easy to continue, although you have to accept that you won't be seen as a great devotee. But you have to live with that. Yes, you will lose that. Because before everyone was seeing you as a great devotee, but now they will see you as a whimsical devotee, or like that. But you will grow. And later on, maybe you advance, and then, yeah, and then you will notice a real growth, and then you can live with that. You can keep it. So I would say that. Mataji, do you want to say something? Oh. Hmm? Okay. And so that's one thing. So within association of advanced devotees is healthy if you expose, you start disclosing a little bit with devotee who will help you. And the other thing I didn't understand, but I don't know, you mentioned the prostitute and... yes, okay. Yeah. Okay, and Mataji?
To add to your point, it's in short, what I understood from Jayabaldev Prabhu's question is that there's this fear or whatever of being judged and also of judging others. And it's actually an anartha, and it comes because we are still on a bodily platform, because we are identifying, I'm Himangi Devidasi, he's such and such person. So first, somewhere we have to start on the platform of soul. So we have to train ourselves, our consciousness and our mind, that Krishna doesn't judge us. Even though we have all these shortcomings, we get judged and we judge. It happens both ways as practicing devotees. So we have to constantly tell ourselves that Krishna doesn't judge me. Yes, I make mistakes. Sometimes they're embarrassing mistakes that others can see, and sometimes it's very private. But still, Krishna is seeing that I'm making progress towards Him. So Krishna doesn't judge me, and He loves me. We have to keep reminding ourselves of that. So when we keep doing that, then what happens is that when others are judging, we can feel Krishna's presence in our life, that Krishna is not judging. Even though others are judging and misunderstanding us, we can feel that, no, Krishna loves me. It kind of works, because it's very difficult to address every person who is judging or, saying something about us. It's not possible. So, and it's better not to engage also in such dynamics, because it just draws you more and more into the material mind. So rather hold on to something that is transcendental, that's Krishna, that He doesn't judge me. Second practical way that's helping me, I can share, is very often I can say I do judge, and I also feel judged by others. And I do feel both. And then one day I realized that my focus was more that I want first others not to judge me. You know, because, and then I realized, okay, let me take the other way around. Let me stop judging others instead of waiting for somebody to stop judging me. And I feel that somehow Krishna reciprocated, because with the when you are focusing on yourself, that you will consciously not judge others and catch yourself when you're judging others to rectify that. Somehow Krishna is pleased, and he does give he empowers us, and he, you know, somehow he helps us transcend that anartha. And then when we stop judging others, somehow energetically, and Krishna in their heart also like shifts things, and they stop judging us. So I felt that that process is helping me. You know, I feel less disturbed now, and now I don't feel so much judged by others. But then I had to first work on myself instead of waiting for somebody else to change their attitude towards me. Because our process is all about going within. Because we don't have control over something outside of us.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have control on our environment. It's the same that Arjuna was changing conceptions. It was nice that you mentioned, I'll finish now, that to see Krishna more in a friendly way, not as someone who's judging. And the same with the devotees, especially the spiritual master. Because if that is clear, then it's easy to also to take corrections, and it's easy to be here. I remember I read one from Satsuru Maharaj's book that he he explained that Krishna doesn't think that you're Superman. He already knows. So and the same with the devotee, devotee, they already know that we are not Superman. And so the service is for our purification, and we try to do the best. However, we are not bribing. We don't have to bribe the love of Krishna for an exchange, because it's actually not an exchange. We are doing the service favorable, but it's not like devotees are expecting that we are like Superman and then they will give the love. So that happens in material life, in material level, that you have to do so much just to get a little bit of affection. But here the affection is first, because the mercy was given. And then we, for our purification, we work. And the spiritual master is happy when we become more happy, so because of Krishna consciousness, when they see the devotees are engaged in devotional service. So in that sense, there is not it's very hard also to live with that pressure, that you have to be the best just to get affection. It's good to try to be the best to serve Krishna, to please, etc. But understanding always that there is the affection is there, and there is no rejection from part of Krishna and the Guru. Srimad Bhagavatam